Hi everyone, Mr. B here, and are you ready for some baseball? Alright, so we're going to be working on today one of your important second grade standards that we typically cover every year at our schools, and hopefully other PE teachers are as well. So hopefully this is a review skill. The standard we're covering is the student will strike a ball with a bat from a tee or a cone using correct grip and side orientation. Now, we've actually touched on all of these things before in other lessons, even though we haven't put it in the baseball context. Today, we'll do that. So we're going to need a couple things. Now, hopefully you have an actual bat and tee at home, but maybe you're missing one or both, so let's talk about some ways we can get around that. You notice probably I'm holding this because the wind's ready to blow it over. I don't have a proper tee. So what I did to devise one, so I just got a little cone here. Now it says a cone or a tee. Ideally, you would have a bigger cone because you're going to want the cone to have the ball at about your waist level, somewhere around here. Clearly this cone's too small and I only have little cones. So I got a packing tube and I'm just going to put that right on the cone there, and that should hold up for a little bit, and I'll place a ball on top. Now I'd recommend a softer ball for today. Today we're just going to be practicing the actual batting, and next week I'll teach you a game that you can play during this. So this is like a little stuffed animal ball that I'm going to put on there. Now, my packing tube is a little difficult. Originally I was going to use this ball, which is more the size of a baseball or softball, a little bit between really. But unfortunately, when I put it in my packing tube, too much of the ball is in there, so I'm going to hit the tube instead of the ball a lot of times. So I'm going to be using the bigger one, and I would recommend that anyway for your age group. Usually a bigger ball is going to be a little easier to hit, so that might be a better way to start, and then you can move to a smaller ball as your skills improve. So this is probably going to fall for you. I'm going to lay it down. Now a bat, again, hopefully you have an actual bat. If not, Walmart's, again, an excellent source or place to get something to start with. It's not too expensive. I have a couple of real bats here. We actually have a ton of them in the garage, but one of these is mine and one is Mrs. B's. She actually played on our company softball team. So something you may have to get ready for, which is why these skills come into play. Even if you're not going to be an athlete like Mrs. B, she often gets pulled into things for work. She's a businesswoman, but a lot of times at work she gets pulled into teams or activities where they say, hey, we need you to come play volleyball. Hey, we need you to play softball. So it's a good skill to know. And it's a second grade standard. All right, so here's some ways. This one, by the way, is a foam bat, so some of you may have something like this. But here's some ways that you can devise one. So, as usual, I looked in the garage and saw, what do I have in here? So I'm going to show you this one first. This is a wood dowel. It's just a piece of wood. It's a pole. And I took a pool noodle, cut it, and just put it on here, slid it on there, and now I have, well, it looks like a pretty good bat. In fact, I kind of like this one. This is a really good one. This one is a PVC pipe that we use to make our golf clubs and for a couple other things along the way here. So it's just a hollow plastic tube. And I wrapped some bubble wrap around it, taped it at the bottom and towards the top to create, again, a pretty good little bat. This is actually a piece of our vacuum cleaner. It's an attachment that you put in there so you can suck things up from the ground. So this could be a little bat. This is a paint extender. So if you have a parent who's a painter, they might have one of these in the garage. Again, you can wrap something around it like I did. A towel would work as well. And this one's just a little metal pole. So lots of different ways there that you can make a bat. I'm going to be using this one, which is one that we find similar, or that you'll find at school. Or similar to the ones we have at school. Sorry, did not phrase that well. All right, so let me reset up my tee here and get some of these things out of the way there. All right, now, we've talked again, as I mentioned, about a couple of these things already. Now, first of all, when we were golfing, we used this grip. We put the dominant hand on the bottom. And I mentioned it comes from the baseball grip. The only difference is now the bat's going to start up here. So our dominant hand is going to go on the top, and the other hand will touch the other one and go right here. One of the big mistakes students make right away on this one is they separate their hands. And then we're going to get a choppy swing. We're not going to get a good swing. Your hands have to be together. Now, if your bat is a little long, and if you didn't choose your bat, you might need to choke up. What that means is you move your hands up. So notice here on the bat, all this is part of the grip. You can grip it anywhere there. For me, this bat is short, so I grip it at the bottom. If it's long, move your hands up. This is what we call choking up. But you need to move both hands up. You can't just move one hand up, because again, then you'll have your hands separated, and that will not be a proper grip. So hands together, dominant hand on top. Now, orientation was the other part of that standard. So if you have a tee, what you're going to want to do is be in a side orientation, just like this. Now, like we talked about in golfing, you're going to want the ball at about where your chest is. So we don't want to be back here, which is a common mistake students make. A lot of students want to take a running start at the ball. Big mistake. You start right here, center your chest right on there. So again, not behind and not in front. Okay? Side orientation. We would be hitting the ball this way. Now the next thing we're going to do is measure up. Now I'm going to turn to you so you can see a little bit here what I mean by measuring up. You always want to hit a ball with what we call the fat part of the bat or the heart of the bat. And on this one there's some letters here. That's usually what I refer students to. So to measure, when we swing, our arms are going to be fully extended. A lot of students stand too close to the tee like this, and then they just bring their hands in. This is what I call alligator arms, because alligators have little arms like this. We don't want our arms like alligator arms. We want to extend our arms. So you'll notice that my arms are extended here like they should be. Oh, that's not where I want to hit the ball. So I would need to move back. This is how you line yourself up correctly. Once you have measured it, I know I'm going to swing through here. Now you bring the bat back, and now you're ready to swing. All right, so let me move back here for you. So again, sorry, the tee's moving around. It's very windy today. So we measure it. I know I'm in the right spot. My feet are about shoulder width apart. I've measured it. Now I'm going to bring the bat back and be ready to swing. Now when we start the swing, we'll just leave the tee for now. It's very similar to the throwing motion for the overhand throw. We're first going to lift our leg up and step forward. Okay, now this does a couple things. As we come in here, we're also coiling our core area here. So we're twisting this way, and then as we step forward and untwist, that's how we get the power. We're using our whole body. Again, a big mistake here for students would be just using their arms, and they tend to chop down at the ball. We want to bring the leg back, step forward, uncoil, and swing all the way through. Bring the bat through the striking zone at a level position right around here. We don't want to chop down. We don't want to swing up. Our boys tend to do this. I want to hit it really far. That's not going to go as far as if you just make good contact here. So again, measure, bring the bat back, and that's what a swing should look like right through there. So here we go again from the top. Grip, dominant hand on the top. Measure it, feet shoulder width, bring the bat back. Now we're going to bring the leg back and swing. And again, you'll notice the footwork is very similar to an overhand throw. All we're doing is coiling our body up, as I mentioned, uncoiling. That's where you get your power from. The power actually starts in the legs, not in the arms. Okay? All right, so that's what it should look like. Let's take a few swings here now. Set up the tee. Got some balls here ready to go. Put a ball on there. We won't fall. We go through all those steps. We measure. Bring the bat back and swing. There it goes. Now the tee's going to fall a lot here, even if you hit the ball perfectly. In this case, my tee's going to fall. Okay, but a lot of students will hit the tee. And as I remind them, hit the ball, not the tee. But you're going to hit the tee sometimes, which is why using a bigger ball is a good way to start. Makes it a little easier to make contact. So again, there's the measuring right on the letters. Bring the bat back and swing. Another one up there. This one's a slightly different ball. But again, a little bit bigger. Bring the bat back. Oops. That one went out of the arcs. That was a mistake. Home run. But now I'm going to have to go chase that one. All right. The ball back up here again. This works a little better without all the wind. Oops. Stay there. Measure. Hit the air conditioner there. All right. So again, I think you get the point here. Let's get rid of the tee. It keeps falling. Measure. Correct grip is dominant hand on top. Bring the bat back. Uncoil and swing. So again, it's just a step and swing. As you finish your swing, you're going to end up facing the way that the ball is going, and you can watch your shot sail over the fence like, what a mind in there. All right, so that's how we hit off the tee. Now, for some of you, you're going to find, and I looked all over Mr. B, I can't think of anything to make a tee out of, so I'm going to give you something for advanced players. As we move up, this is actually into a 4th grade standard now. I'm going to bring out Mrs. B, and I'm going to have her give me some nice underhand tosses. Now, for this one, I'm going to use a makeshift home plate. Because as we advance in baseball or softball, we would no longer have a tee that we'd be hitting off of. Again, that's your second grade standard. Now we do the same thing with the measuring here. I measure to make sure that the fat part of the bat is going to pass over the plate. Again, the mistake that most students make here is standing too close. And then when the ball comes in, it would have to come over the plate to be what we call a strike. Now I'm going to hit it off my hands, which really hurts. And more importantly, the ball's not going to go very far. So we measure. Once I know I'm covering the plate with my bat, now I'm ready to swing. And that's how he would swing. All right, so I'm going to take a little brief pause here as I'm setting up my stats. And I got to call out Mrs. B. And I'm going to have her give me some underhand tosses so you can have your mom or your dad or your brother or sister give you some underhand tosses. But be choosy here. One of the mistakes that students make when we start doing the underhand toss is they just swing at everything. The ball's up here, they swing at it. The ball's on the ground, they swing at it. Okay, so you only want to swing at a ball that's going to be about between here and here. Other than that, it wouldn't be a strike. So be choosy. If your dad gives you a bad pitch, don't swing at it. They wait for the next good one, and when it's a good one, swing at it. All right, let's get Mrs. B out here so we can hit some balls. All right, everyone, we changed your view just a little bit. Mrs. B is out here now. She'll be doing the underhand tosses. Remember, be choosy. Remember all the steps that we talked about. All right, here comes the first one. So again, swing at them only if they're over the plate. That was way outside, so I'm definitely not going to swing at that one. Oops. Even that one wasn't a great pitch. Yeah, Mrs. B's got to get him over the plate or I can't swing at him. Again, not over the plate. That was close. Okay, so I was a little low, but not bad. Just a little low. And again, you want to be choosy. That was a little inside. Again, could have pulled the trigger on that one. And also a little inside. I'm trying to get a few of these swings in. That was a good one. Yeah, notice how you can probably tell they're going a lot further when I'm swinging at good pitches. I was a little outside, so it didn't go as far. And a little inside. But good hitters will be able to make adjustments. Can't make an adjustment on that one. All right, everyone. So I think you get the point here. So practice on your own. Remember, if you're an advanced player, you want to probably start moving into the underhand tossing, or if you just don't have a tee. Now, if that's the case for you, remember, if you have a bigger bat, a fatter bat, it's going to be easier to hit the ball. A bigger ball will also be easier to hit. Okay, so practice. Remember all the steps, side orientation, bring the bat back, make sure you're stepping forward as you swing. Use all your power. Again, step forward and uncoil your body. So good luck. Keep practicing, work hard, and who knows, maybe someday you'll be the next Mike Trout or Cody Bellinger out there. All right, everybody, have fun. We'll see you in the next section.